Ladies and gentlemen, friends and fellow dreamers, as we step into 2025, we find ourselves living in a world more connected, yet at times more disconnected than ever before. Technology has advanced, our schedules are busier, and the expectations on our shoulders seem heavier. We are told to stay strong, to push forward, to suppress what we feel in order to appear in control. But today, I want to share with you a simple truth. True strength is not in hiding your emotions. It is in allowing them to flow. Letting your emotions flow is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of humanity. Every tear that falls, every smile that lights up your face, every moment of anger or joy is a message from within you. When we block these emotions, we silence our own voice. But when we allow them to flow, we open the door to healing, to clarity, and to connection with others. Think about this. How many times have you seen someone's laughter light up an entire room? How many times has someone's honest sadness touched your heart and reminded you that you are not alone? Emotions are the universal language. They connect us beyond culture, beyond background, beyond words. In 2025, when so many of us spend more time staring at screens than into each other's eyes, the world desperately needs authenticity, and authenticity is born through emotions. Letting emotions flow also improves our mental health. Bottled up emotions turn into stress, anxiety, and even physical illness. By expressing what we feel through words, through art, through conversation, we release the weight we carry. We create space within ourselves for peace and creativity. Imagine a society where people felt safe enough to cry, to celebrate, to laugh loudly, to love openly. That is not just a dream. That can be our reality if we begin with ourselves. In 2025, let us embrace the truth that emotions are not obstacles, they are guides. Anger tells us what needs to change. Sadness shows us what we value. Joy reminds us of what matters most. Love fuels everything we do. Instead of resisting these emotions, let us learn to ride their waves. By doing so, we will not only become more resilient individuals, but also kinder communities. So, my friends, let us not be afraid to feel this year. Let your emotions flow like rivers that cleanse, like winds that carry, like flames that warm the soul. For in embracing our emotions, we embrace life itself. Thank you. Emotions are not a flaw in our design. They are the very essence of what makes us human. Too often, society teaches us that strength means silence, that power comes from suppressing what we feel. But in reality, the opposite is true. To let your emotions flow is to reveal your authenticity, to stand confidently in who you are without the mask of indifference. When we allow ourselves to express sadness, joy, fear, or love openly, we are showing the world that we are not machines, but living beings with hearts that beat and souls that feel. It takes courage to admit when you are hurting, just as it takes courage to laugh freely when you are happy. Denying emotions may seem like control, but it only builds walls within us. True control is not in locking emotions away, but in acknowledging them, understanding them, and releasing them in healthy ways. In 2025, where appearances often overshadow truth, embracing emotions becomes a powerful act of resistance. It means choosing to live honestly rather than living to impress. It is in those moments of raw emotion, when tears fall, when laughter erupts, when voices tremble, that we inspire others to be real too. Strength lies not in how well we can hide, but in how bravely we can show up as ourselves. By letting our emotions flow, we honor our humanity and remind others that they are allowed to feel as well. That is where true strength begins. Emotions transcend the limits of spoken language. No matter where we come from or what tongue we speak, a smile, a tear, or a trembling voice communicates more than words ever could. This universal language binds us together in ways logic alone cannot. In a time when the world feels divided by differences of culture, politics, and belief, emotions remain the bridge that unites us. When someone shares their laughter, we instinctively join in, even if we don't understand the joke. When we see someone cry, our hearts respond with compassion, even if we don't know the reason. That is the silent power of emotions. They remind us of our shared humanity. In 2025, when digital interactions dominate and much of our communication happens through screens, emotional expression has become even more essential. Without it, our relationships risk becoming shallow and mechanical. By letting our emotions flow, we bring warmth and sincerity into a world that often feels cold and artificial. Think about the leaders, artists, or even loved ones who have moved you most deeply. It wasn't their perfect words alone. It was the emotion behind them that reached into your heart. Emotions are the invisible thread that weave connection, empathy, and trust between people. They allow us to say, I understand you, without speaking a single word. By embracing and expressing emotions, we strengthen bonds that are more powerful than language itself. When emotions are locked away, they do not disappear. They build up inside us like pressure in a sealed container waiting for release. Over time, this hidden weight manifests as stress, anxiety, irritability, or even physical illness. Countless studies show that suppressed emotions can weaken our immune system, disrupt sleep, and cloud our ability to think clearly. On the other hand, expressing emotions in a healthy way, whether through conversation, writing, creativity, or even a simple cry, creates relief and restores balance. It is like opening a window in a room that has been closed too long. Suddenly, fresh air flows in. In 2025, with the demands of fast-paced living, people often feel pressure to stay composed and strong. Yet true strength comes from honesty. By acknowledging how we feel, we take back control of our inner world rather than allowing bottled up emotions to control us. Sharing our struggles not only lightens our own burden, but also creates an atmosphere of support where others feel safe to do the same. Imagine the difference in workplaces, families, and friendships if people expressed emotions openly instead of silently carrying pain. Instead of cycles of tension and burnout, we would see resilience, healing, and genuine connection. Emotions are not enemies to be defeated. They are signals that guide us to care for ourselves. By letting them flow, we nurture our mental and physical health, making room for peace, energy, and growth in our lives. Every emotion we feel carries a message, a signal pointing us toward growth and understanding. Anger, for instance, is often a sign that something in our life or environment needs to change. It urges us to confront injustice or set healthy boundaries. Sadness, though painful, reveals what we truly value and reminds us of the depth of our love and attachments. Joy acts as a compass, showing us what brings meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. Love, in its many forms, is the force that binds us to others and drives us to create, to serve, and to persevere. When we silence these emotions, we miss the wisdom they offer. They are not random feelings to be ignored, but teachers, guiding us to become better versions of ourselves. In 2025, with so many distractions pulling us in countless directions, it is easy to overlook these inner signals. But when we pause and let emotions flow, we gain clarity about what matters most. Instead of being ruled by emotions, we can learn to listen to them, understand them, and act with intention. A person who acknowledges their feelings is not weak but wise, for they use emotions as a tool for growth. By honoring what we feel, we discover our strengths, heal from our pains, and recognize the paths that lead us toward a more authentic life. Letting emotions flow means allowing ourselves to learn from the deepest voice we carry, the voice within. We live in an era where much of our interaction happens behind screens, where emojis and typed words often replace real expressions of the heart. While technology has made life faster and more convenient, it has also created a culture where people hide behind filters, carefully curated posts, and rehearsed responses. In this digital world of 2025, authenticity has become rare and therefore more valuable than ever. Real emotions are what cut through the noise, reminding us of our shared humanity in a time of endless digital distractions. When you let your emotions flow, whether it's through your voice, your face, or your actions, you bring something genuine into spaces that are often dominated by performance. People are not moved by perfection. They are moved by authenticity. A heartfelt laugh, an honest tear, or a moment of vulnerability can touch others far more deeply than any polished image online. By choosing to live and communicate with emotional honesty, you give permission for others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of sincerity in a world that often feels artificial. In 2025, when many are searching for real connection beneath the surface of digital life, your emotions are not just personal, they are a gift to others. They show that behind the profile, the message, or the screen, there is a human being who feels, who cares, and who is alive. Authentic emotions are the bridge that transforms digital connections into meaningful relationships. When we allow our emotions to flow freely, we do more than nurture ourselves. We contribute to the strength and unity of our communities. A society where people feel safe to express joy, sorrow, or even frustration is one where empathy thrives. When we share emotions openly, others see themselves reflected in us, realizing that they are not alone in their struggles or triumphs. This shared vulnerability becomes the foundation of compassion, trust, and deeper human bonds. In 2025, as the world grows faster and often more isolating, these emotional connections are needed more than ever. Communities built on authenticity are more resilient because they are based on understanding rather than judgment. When a neighbor shows grief, others gather in support. When a colleague celebrates, the whole team feels uplifted. Such exchanges of emotion weave a fabric of solidarity that holds people together even in times of challenge. Letting emotions flow also helps resolve conflicts more effectively. Instead of suppressing feelings until they explode, open expression fosters dialogue, forgiveness, and growth. By creating spaces where emotions are welcomed rather than silenced, we cultivate kindness and respect. A strong community is not one without emotions, but one where emotions are acknowledged, shared, and honored. Each tear, each smile, each burst of laughter adds to the collective story of humanity. By letting our emotions flow, we don't just heal ourselves, we build communities that are compassionate, supportive, and unbreakable in the face of adversity.